Hey there everyone, and welcome to today's tutorial on solving linear equations. Well, let's just first assume that we have this problem, this linear problem, 3 times, in parentheses, x minus q equal 5 times, in parentheses, x minus 1, close parentheses. We have to say close parentheses on the first problem, but here it is anyways. That's the problem we're dealing with. How will we solve this thing? Well, using the rules of distribution through multiplication, we know that we can distribute our 3 to the x and our 3 to the minus 2 in the parentheses on the left side of the equation, and on the right side of the equation, we can distribute the 5 with the x and the 5 with the x minus 1. Here. There we go. So, doing that, we basically find that 3x minus 6 equals 5x minus 5. Right there. Right there. There we go, right there. So, let me just write that down here on this other side of the board so that just makes it easier. So, we have 3x minus 6 equals 5x minus 5. Well, what to do from here? Well, we see that if I add a 6 to the left side of the equation and a 6 to the other side of the equation, which is what I have to do in order for the equality to still stay equal, I find that 3x plus 6 minus 6 equals 5x minus 5 plus 6. Let's see, right down here. Not very well. Right there. And bring this out, and we get 3x equals 5x, and minus 5 plus 6 just becomes 1. So here we go. There we go. 3x equals 5x plus 1. So from this point, we want to solve for x. So let's actually subtract 1 from each side. We could have just added the 5 to each side. Would have made it a bit easier, but anyways, we get 3x minus 1 ends up becoming 5x. You can see from there. And let's move on further. Let's reduce this equality even further. Let's subtract 3x from both sides so that we can isolate the x's on one side and basically the constant numbers without any variables on the other side. So we end up getting minus 1 is equal to 5x minus 3x. We subtract 3x from both sides to get rid of the 3x on the left side of the equation. So we end up getting, this implies that minus 1 is the equivalent of 2x. See here? Yeah, minus 1 equals 2x. And then when we end up, we solve for x. So since we want to solve for x, we divide both sides of the equation by 2. And if we do that, we end up getting minus 1/2 equals 2x divided by 2. And what ends up happening is when you have 2 of x, 2 times x divided by 2, the 2's end up canceling out each other. So we're then left with x equals minus 1/2. Now, some of you might be wondering, what does the little triad of little dots here represent? Well, these dots here, this is just a little notation I learned in my Calculus 3 class. This just means therefore. Therefore. You see that right there. Just means therefore. And you might have seen me using the equal sign with the basically inequality symbol right here. That is just a little notation I use that I guess just means this, you know, I have 3x minus 1 equals 5x, and then I have this equal sign with the inequality. Basically what that means is it says the equality 3x minus 1 equals 5x implies, this is supposed to mean implies that minus 1 equals 5x minus 3x. And we did that by, subtracting 3x from both sides to get the x on one side of the equation and basically the constant on the other. So let's move on to another problem here. So sadly, I'm doing this with real time, and I'm recording from my webcam, so the quality is kinda, man, I need to actually, save up some money to actually get a decent camera, rather than just using my laptop's webcam, which has really crappy quality. Anyways, I'm gonna look for another problem in this book that I'm using, which is called Algebra and Trigonometry by Sullivan. Very interesting name. I had no idea that somebody could have their first name be equivalent to their last name. Anyways, moving on to the, next problem here. It says solving an equation that leads to a linear equation. So, here, let's set this up. We have the problem, where is it? 2x, in parentheses, 2x minus 1. Oh, crap, my marker is kind of dying. 2x minus 1, close parentheses, times x minus 1 equals, in parentheses, x minus 5, close parentheses, then open new parentheses again, and 2x minus 5. So I'm not sure if you guys can see this here. This is a little problem here. 2x minus 1 times x minus 1 equals x minus 5 times 2x minus 5. Anyways, now once again, like we did with the last problem, we'll use the properties of distribution. So in this case, since we have 2x minus 1 in one parenthesis and x minus 1 in another, and not just some simple constant, it looks like we'll have to do double distribution. And what do I mean by that? Well, here's what I mean. I'm going to write it down. So let's first look at the left-hand side of the equation. 2x minus 1, close parentheses, times x minus 1. So what we want to do is we want to distribute the 2x to the x, and 2x to the minus 1, and then do the same thing with the minus 1 to the x, and the minus 1 to the minus 1. So what does the left-hand side of this equality look like? Well, look at it first. So 2x times x, that just becomes 2x squared. And then we distribute the 2x to the minus 1, and that just ends up becoming minus 2x, because you're just basically multiplying it by a constant that only changes the negative sign, or, well, the positive sign in front of the coefficient. You know what? I'm going to stop talking. Not that. Anyways, we end up getting 2x squared minus 2x, and then we have another minus 1 being distributed to the x in the parentheses. And we end up getting another minus x, and then minus 1 times minus 1. Well, when you have a negative times another negative, or a negative divided by another negative, it ends up just becoming a positive. So we end up getting plus 1. Now, we want to apply for the right-hand side of the equation. We want to apply basically the same rule of distribution. So, as I said before, x to 2x, x to minus 5, then minus 5 to 2x, and minus 5 to minus 5. So, let's look at this. So, we end up getting 2x squared, from the x times 2x, minus x times 5, which is minus 5x, then minus, because we have a minus 5, minus 5 times 2x just becomes 10x, and then minus 5 times minus 5 just becomes 25. So now that we've basically taken this problem and factored out these things, let's try clearing some things up. So start with the left-hand side of the equation. So we have 2x squared minus 2x minus x plus 1. Well, right off the bat, it should be in your intuition to see that, so I have I have 2x and minus x, and those are both in the first power. And since they're both negative, I can combine them together to get minus 3x. And the pen is really dying. And then just plus 1, because we really can't do anything to the 1 because there's no There are no variables attached to it. And then the second part of this equation, here, let me just try to switch to a different pen. Second part of this equation, hopefully this pen works better, becomes 2x squared minus, we can combine the negative parts of the, minus 5x and the minus 10x because they both share the same variable to the first power. Ends up becoming minus 15x plus 25, and we can't do anything with that 25. So now that we have this kind of thing set up, this equation set up, not sure how well you guys can see that, 2x squared minus 3x plus 1 equals 2x squared minus 15 plus 25. Now we have it set up for there. It's time to do just some basic applications of subtraction. So we notice that there's 2x squared on both sides. So we subtract 2x squared from both sides to get rid of those. And then let's get the x's on one side and the constants. And when I say constants, I just mean the integers without any variables being multiplied to them on the other side. So I'm going to add 15x to both sides of the equation to get rid of the minus 15x on the right-hand side. And I'm also going to kill two birds with one stone and subtract 1 from both sides of the equation so that I can get rid of the constant on the x, the other side. I'll just show you guys. So it ends up becoming 12x. That's 0. And your 25 minus 1 just becomes 24. From here, not sure if you guys can see what I did there. I canceled out the 2x squared because I found that I had two 2x squared on both sides, so let's kind of kill each other. And then I added 15x to get rid of the 15x here. And I added 1 to this side of the equation to get rid of the 1 here. Added 15x because I added grid to both sides of the equality to make it equal and consistent. So I ended up with the result 12x equals 24. And so from this point, we're on the home stretch, and we want to solve for x in this case. What our initial question, I didn't say it at the beginning, but the initial question should have been, what is the value of x for this kind of, system of linear equations? And so the way we do that is by dividing both sides by the coefficient in front of the x, which in this case just is 12. So we divide both sides of the equation by 12, and we find that 24, well, how many times does 12 go into 24? Well, 12 plus 12 is 24, so 12 goes into there just 2 times. Look at this, basically 12 plus 12 divided by 12. 24 divided by 12, so we find that x just equals 2. And, I'll try to get a better camera for the next, hopefully in the next few weeks so that I can actually make much more comprehensible videos and hopefully more exciting videos. But I hope this kind of helps you guys with whatever algebra problems you have. See you in the next video.